anybody to get onto. There's no alternative. There has to be an alternative. Because if we don't have an alternative, we're going to end up with BDCP one way or another. Okay, so they took the pumps out of the equation. It's going to be a gravity pull thing, right? What do you do? It still comes out of the wrong place. And if they don't get enough flow on their gravity system, guess what? We've got the tunnels and we've got the sites. Well, we've got to put some pumps in now because we're not getting the flows we want. For them to have a gravity flow system based on what this river is out here today, ain't going to happen. It's got to have pumps to make that work. And they're not going to put all that money into it, and it's going to be shut down for 9 months out of the year. That's not going to happen. WDIC, in my opinion, is a viable solution to BDCP. It's got to be studied. It's got to be put at the curb. So we've got a choice. The people of California have a choice. Right now, there is no choice. It's BDCP, and it's going to be BDCP, and they're going to be right out here at your front door and sucking all this water out of this river. And then, back to the salinity issues, we're done. Please look into it, check it out, investigate. But we've got to get an alternative on board. We've got to get a bus at the curb that we can get onto, because all we got right now is BDCP, period.
Tim, we've listened to about two or three different alternatives here. Why aren't they taking traction? What's your recommendation to either take traction with those or others? They just don't seem to.
There's a syndrome out there called, if I get it right, called actives. I came up with that, and I can't remember exactly. But basically, the acronym is Advanced Bureaucratic Tunnel Vision. Something along those lines. I have to go back over my notes. Advanced and acute bureaucratic tunnel vision. And if you take those capital letters, it's active or something like that. And that's the problem. Everybody is zeroed in on BDCP and the tunnels. We know it's devastating to the Delta. We know it's devastating to us. We know it really is not going to work. For instance, we're going to spend just as much money on restoration mitigation efforts for the construction of the tunnels. Well, you're spending all that money on the restoration and mitigation issues, but if the Delta turns into a salt marsh, i.e. Suisun Salt Marsh over on Highway 37, which it will, what good is all that habitat mitigation and habitat restoration done for you? Absolutely nothing. It's useless.
Has anybody tried to approach Ann Brown, the governor's wife? Because I think she would be the most influential in changing.
All I know is that the government is totally tuned into BDCP, and quite frankly, in my opinion, we're making a mistake by focusing on BDCP all the time. We should be going off in a different direction, finding an alternative solution that works. And the only solution that works is a through Delta system that you either take it out on the south end like they're doing now, or you take it out on the west end like Dr. Pyke's plan says, and let this water do its thing coming through the Delta. You can't tell me common sense-wise that taking more water out of the Delta at this point is going to have any beneficial effect to the Delta whatsoever. There's no way. You can't take more water out and expect it to improve. It doesn't work on my farm. It doesn't work in your garden. And it won't work on this scale either. So there's got to be an alternative out there that we can point to and say, look, this makes sense. This thing here is ridiculous. But it doesn't make any difference with people down south because they want the water. And they want the fresh water here because this water is much cleaner. Much, much cleaner.
Well, I've heard that Metro's real reason for doing this is it will save them billions of dollars in processing the water.
That's why they
That's the justification.
And when you notice this water, you can look at this water today, and it's, you can see down there, you put a dish down there, you can probably see 6 feet. You do that down at Tracy, if you've ever been down there at Tracy, that water is muddy, 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 muddy. I mean, years ago, I went down there water skiing, and I fell in the water, and I came up and I had dirt in my eyes. I'm going, holy crap, this thing is full of dirt down here. So that's the point. This is clean water for them. That down there is a problem. even down at Tracy, I mean, down at Sherman Island on Dr. White's thing, that might be a problem also, but at least the water has flowed through the delta and has done its job agriculturally, done its job ecologically, and done its job recreationally. And then take what's left over. And the key point to that is that it's self-regulating. If they ever pump too much at any time, they're going to suck up too much salt and they're going to have to back off or quit because they don't want that much salt in their water either. So being self-regulating on that end of the delta after it's flowed through the delta is huge. It's huge. But this thing up here, it is a bad news thing for anybody that's got any kind of idea of what the delta is all about.
Thank you.
Acute and advanced bureaucrat come